Recognizes the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I'd like to compliment the Senate on passing the bill we passed last week, the 21st Century Cures Act, which will help research and save the lives of many Americans, something we did in a bipartisan fashion. Pleased that happened. I rise in support of S. 2971, the National Urban Search and Rescue Response System Act of 2016, as amended, which codifies the Urban Search and Rescue Response System. Authorizing the Urban Search and Rescue Teams, better known as USAR teams, and codifying protections for team members, such as workers' comp and liability protections, has been a top priority of mine since I first introduced the bill, a bill to do so in 2007, my first year in Congress. I was pleased the late former Democratic Transportation Infrastructure Chairman and outstanding member, Mr. Oberstar, now deceased, included my USAR language in a bill that was reported from the committee in 2010. Since then, legislation authorizing USAR teams has passed the House several times, and now the Senate has passed one as well. The 28 urban search and rescue teams are strategically located across the United States and provide timely response when needed in the aftermath of a disaster. In fact, USAR teams can be ready for deployment within 6 hours of being called up. These specialized teams of first responders provide search and rescue services, extraction from structural collapses, and rescue, among other activities after disaster strikes. Their dedication is truly commendable as they drop everything in their busy daily lives to come to the prompt assistance of others when needed. It should be noted that USAR teams even respond internationally when assistance is requested. In fact, 2 USAR teams were deployed in the aftermath of the earthquake in Nepal in 2015, and they were responsible for many rescues from structural collapses. It is only appropriate that we ensure that they have the protection they need to perform their jobs, as well as the peace of mind that they will come from clarity in compensation and liability issues. USAR teams may be composed of firefighters, law enforcement officers, paramedics, engineers, medical professionals, and canine handlers. Often these team members are civil servants. By extending job protection benefits when activated for federal service, team members know that their jobs will be waiting at home for them. In addition, it helps USAR teams recruit and retain new members. Tennessee's USAR, known as Tennessee Task Force 1, has a strong commitment to their jobs, and they do an extraordinarily good job. Tennessee Task Force 1 is based in Memphis, consisting of firefighters, police officers, and civilians, and they've responded when called to assist in the aftermath of disasters such as Hurricane Matthew in South Carolina, and most recently the tragic wildfires in our Smoky Mountains. They did so despite the uncertainty of whether they would be covered for any injuries. Their actions are truly heroic, and I applaud them and their dedication. The protections in today's bills are long overdue, and team members can now rest assured that they will be taken care of if they're injured when performing federal duties. I am sadly, though, disappointed that the Republican leadership is selectively choosing when and when not to enforce its budget rules. The underlying Senate bill we're considering authorized, quote, such sums as necessary, unquote, to carry out the USAR system. Despite the House having passed a bill authorizing, quote, such sums as necessary for the integrated public alert and warning system earlier this year, we are now told that this authorization violates budget rules. An amendment and further consideration by the Senate is required. As a result, our USAR teams must wait another day before we afford them the protections they deserve. They deserve better, and they deserve laws that will ensure that Congress will appropriate adequate funds to support them in their activities. I thank all the USAR teams for their service. I thank Mr. Barletta for working on this bill as well. I urge my colleagues to support our USAR teams by supporting the legislation. Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.